Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana 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 Yamunati Ravanachari Ravanachari Yamunati Ravanachari Ravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Shri Radha Gokunanda ki Shri Siddharam Lakshman Hanuman ki Shri Gaurataraj ki Shri Prabhupada ki Gopi Nande Hari Hari Bo. That's a coach do there. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Narochaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutire Nashta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhaktir Bhagavatam Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtiki. Reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, text number 2. Adiyagya katra Dehesmin Madhusudana Prayana Kale Chakatam Jnana Yoshi Niyatmakah Atmabich Jnana Yoshi Nitabich Adiyagya Kotra Dehismin Madhusudana Prayena Kale Chakatam Jnana Yosi Nidyasadich Matmatmabich Adiyatma Kotra Dehismin Madhusudana Prayana Kale Chakatam Jnana Yosi Nityatmabich. Word for word. Adiyagyah, the Lord of sacrifice. Katam, how. Kah, who. Atra, here. Dehe, in the body. Asmin, this. Madhusudana, O Madhusudana. Prayanakale, at the time of death. Cha, and. Katam, how. Jnana asi, you can be known. Niyatra atmabich, by the self-controlled. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada. Who is the Lord of sacrifice, and how does He live in the body? O Madhusudana, and how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? Purport. Lord of sacrifice may refer to either Indra or Vishnu. Vishnu is the chief of the primeval demigods, including Brahma and Shiva, and Indra is the chief of administrative demigods. Both Indra and Vishnu are worshipped by yajna performance. But here Arjuna asked who is actually the Lord of yajna, sacrifice, and how the Lord is residing within the body of the living entity. Arjuna addresses the Lord as Madhusudana because Krishna once killed a demon named Madhu. Actually, these questions, which are of the nature of doubts, should not have arisen in the mind of Arjuna, because Arjuna is the Krishna conscious devotee. Therefore, these doubts are like demons. Since Krishna is so expert in killing demons, Arjuna here addresses him as Madhusudana, so that Krishna might kill the demonic doubts that arise in Arjuna's mind. Now the word prayanakale in this verse is very significant, because whatever we do in life will be tested at the time of death. Arjuna is very anxious to know those who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. What should be their position at the final moment? At the time of death, all the bodily functions are disturbed. The mind is not properly conditioned. Thus, disturbed by the bodily situation, one may not be able to remember the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Kaleshvara, a great devotee, prays, "My dear Lord, just now I am quite healthy, and it's better that I die immediately, so that swan of my mind can seek entrance at the stem of the lotus feet, of your lotus feet." The metaphor is used because the swan, a bird of the water, takes pleasure in digging into the lotus feet, lotus flowers. It is sporting proclivity. It has entered the lotus flower. Maharaj Kulashekara says to the Lord, "Now my mind is undisturbed, and I am quite healthy. If I die immediately, thinking of your lotus feet, then I am sure my performance of devotional service will become perfect. But if I have to wait for my natural death, then I do not know what will happen, because at the time of death, functions will be disturbed, my throat will be choked up, and I do not know whether I shall be able to chant your names. Better let me die immediately. Arjuna questions how a person can fix his mind on Krishna's lotus feet at such a time. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshirunmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sakana Raghunatham Ritam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarvadutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakamritamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming here this evening. In this text, or more like in the purport, Srila Prabhupada specifies three main points. And they are as follows. Prabhupada actually divides these points into 3 paragraphs, which is very systematic of him. So the first paragraph was about how the Lord is who is the Lord of all sacrifices. The second one was about doubts, because he was comparing doubts to be like demons, and therefore Arjuna addressed Krishna as Madhusudana, the killer of the demon Madhu. And the third point is a very important point, is how we can actually remember Krishna at a time of death. So let's go one by one. The first one is about sacrifice. Before understanding what sacrifice actually means and who is the Lord of sacrifice, let's define the word sacrifice. Sacrifice is, in a nutshell, giving up something that feels good now for something that you want most. Yeah, in a nutshell, that's what it is. Can you put this lower? I think the mic is a bit too high. So again, sacrifice means giving up something, giving what feels good now for something else that you really want. And there are many examples of this. There are many examples of this, even in the modern world. For example, workout, investments, education. All of it is an example of sacrifice. You're sacrificing what feels good now, your free time. For example, workouts. In order to get a proper body, you need to invest or sacrifice some of your free time, some of your leisure time, and put some hard work into it. And then you get the result of a fit body. Same for investments. Instead of using the money, your spare money, for some pleasure or entertainment, you're using it for an investment. You're putting it somewhere, so you're sacrificing it for something greater in later. Then, education, same thing. You're spending your time when you're young, when you have flavors, you can say, ideas, when you want to play around, when you just have a joke, but you take the time, you go to school, and you have your education done. In that way, you sacrifice what feels good now for something greater, something which you really want afterwards. That's sacrifice. A very common understanding of sacrifice nowadays, of course, is fire sacrifice, known as yagya. And I thought it would be interesting to just go through yagya and how the whole process is done. The main thing about yagya is that you have, in the yagya process, you have 5 main people, 5 main personalities that are overseeing the yagya. There is the hotri, the person putting ghee in the fire. He is like the main person, you can say. Then you have someone called advaryu. Advaryu is the assistant. He is making sure that the fire yagya happens actually. He maintains the fire. He passes the spoons. He helps purifying the place. In a nutshell, he oversees the whole physical aspect of the yagya. Then you have udgata. That's the person who is reciting the mantras. He is responsible for all the, you can say, vocal aspects of the ceremony. And it's basically the most essential part of yagya, because without mantra, there's no yagya. And actually, it's quite interesting how in Kali Yuga, everything deteriorates. You look at anything, the qualities of a human being, they go away. We don't have austerity, cleanliness, everything is gone. Then, basically anything in the Kali Yuga, it goes down. Compared to Satya, Dvapara, and Treta, it's just disappointing. But there's 2 things that Shastra explained that always stays. That's mantra and jewels. They always keep potency. No matter what happens, no matter which yuga it is, they always have this power. For example, jewels, they have astrological power. They can influence certain planets. So for example, if you wear different stones, it can affect either your Rahu, your Ketu, your Sun, or your Moon. It depends what it is. But that's just a side thing. The main thing is the mantra. The mantras, they are the most powerful thing we have in Kali Yuga, because they have the potency from all the ages. And especially now we have the Maha Mantra, which can purify everything. Anyways, that was a small sidetrack. Okay, so staying on the yagya. So Udgata is the one reciting the mantras. Then you have someone called Brahma. He is the one, you can say, he is the most senior personality in the assembly. And he oversees not just the physical, the vocal, and the yagya itself. He sees the whole atmosphere. He makes sure the whole mindset is proper, that the people are sitting there actually understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. And of course, there's the person you're doing yagya for, the deity you're trying to please. Of course, in Vaishnava yagyas, it's Krishna. Sometimes it can be Nrsimhadev, can be, it just depends who it is. But it's always Krishna at the end. As Prabhupada mentions here, you have, most of the sacrifices are given to Indra or Krishna, because Vaishnavas, they give it to Krishna, and the Karmakandis, they perform sacrifice for some material pleasure. But even in Karmakanda, it's interesting how, let's just break down the yagya, whole structure of the yagya into 3 parts. The first part of yagya is Kushandika, the opening. Basically, you are purifying everything, and you are inviting the Lord. Then you have Homa. Homa is the real yagya. You're basically chanting different mantras, like Purusha Sukta, Shri Sukta, Nrsimha Kavacha. It depends on what is the purpose of the yagya. And then, in different suktas, you have different ahutis. For example, when you're chanting Purusha Sukta, you chant Idam Krishnaya, Idam Namama. It means, this is for Krishna and not for me. Namama means not for me. That's in Vaishnava yagyas. But in Karmakanda yagyas, they can have different suktas, but they chant, this is for Indra, this is for Uma, this is for Mahadev. Different things. But interestingly enough, at the end of every yagya, there's something called Purnahuti. Purna means complete, the last offering. And Doesn't matter if it's Karmakanda, Vaishnava Yagya, Samskara, you always have Krishna as the last ahuti. You have the most amount of ghee, the most amount of items, and you say, Idam Krishnaya, Idam Nama. So I found it quite interesting that doesn't matter what kind of yagya you do, if it's Karmakanda, if it's Vaishnava Yagya, if it's Samskaras, always Krishna is the Lord of sacrifice. So yeah, that's just the first aspect of the purport. Sure, please.
I'm sorry it's early, but just because of this simple fact,
Yeah.
why do you still have people not understanding that Krishna is ultimately the supreme personality of God? Even those who believe in the demigods and do sacrifices for the demigods have to ultimately like.
It's a good question. The thing is that about Karmakanda, most of the people doing Karmakanda, they don't fully understand the main purpose behind yajna. Their goal is to attain some material, basically goods or qualities, and they just. About Karmakanda, it's actually very strict. You have to make sure that the whole procedure is exact. So most of the Karmakanda people who perform yajna, they don't spend so much time understanding why you're doing it. They just study their ritual very precisely, and then they just kind of follow it. They don't understand, of course, some will understand, but it's just, they don't think about it so much. They make sure that every single thing happens properly, all the items are put on time, all the mantras are chanted for the proper swara. Actually, about mantra, chanting mantra properly, it's not easy. There's 8 things you consider when you're chanting mantras. There's the volume, bala. There's the svara, means the tune. There's the meter, that's also how you put. Let me just give you an example. Om Vajjanakaya Vidmahe Tikshantagyastraya Dhimai Tanna Narasimha Prachodayat. That's the up. So there's this kind of intricacies in chanting the mantra. So they make sure that all these things happen properly. And then, basically. So they don't really understand exactly who they're doing it for. They please the demigods, and then they get the benefits. It's it's a transaction. I give you this, you give me my Lakshmi, you give me my health, you give me my knowledge. So that's answers the question. Okay, let's move on to the second part about how Arjuna addresses Krishna as Madhusudana. He addresses him as Madhusudana, as Prabhupada mentions, because Madhusudana means the killer of the demon Madhu. And doubts represent demonic qualities. And I found this to be quite interesting. It sounds quite logical at first, but think about it. What are doubts? Doubts are a sign of intelligence. Is it true? Because when you listen to a lecture, if you don't ask questions, it means you either don't understand anything or you have realized everything perfectly. So doubts means it's a sign of intelligence that something is happening. And actually doubts is what brought us here to the temple. Think about it. If you'd be just living a normal life, just going to school, getting a college degree, and then going for your work, and not thinking about how everything manifests in life, what would you actually think about Krishna? What would you think about anything else? Doubts is what actually brought you to the temple. It what makes you think. What you think outside the box. Make you think, why am I doing this? It's a doubt. So doubts, I think, are quite healthy. What do you think? So it doesn't really make sense. How does Krishna address doubts as demons if these doubts brought you to the temple? Anyone has any ideas? No? Yeah, please.
But you don't actually want to know the answer. You're just doubting. What's it called? I don't remember the word for it. But you don't actually want to know the answer.
Okay, you're just asking for the sake of asking. You can say, not exactly, because you can say here Arjuna asked a question because he knows it's an important question. So I did some research about it, and I took something out. So to understand this nicely, I had to understand that there's 3 levels of question. There's a question, there's doubt, and there's misgiving. Question, doubt, and misgiving. I'll go through it very soon. Let me just read the dictionary definition of it, so it's more understandable. Okay, so a question is an inquiry seeking information, clarification, or understanding a particular issue. It's typically neutral and does not imply skepticism or suspicion. That's a question. Make sense? Then you have a doubt. That refers to a feeling of uncertainty or lack of confidence about something. It arises when it's a lack of trust in a belief, or a statement, or a course of action. Make sense? So basically, when you understand something, but you don't really have trust into that belief, that's a doubt. And then a misgiving is a stronger sense of doubt or skepticism, usually implied a sense of forbidding or unease. In a nutshell, it's just a question is something not so, it's more neutral. For example, how many wives does Krishna have? 16,108. That's a question. Like, it's not anything like about your faith. Then a doubt would be something, for example, let's give an example. I've been chanting japa for the last 10 years, and I'm still attached to watching movies. The process doesn't work. That's like a doubt. Make sense? Like, it makes sense. Like, I practice this for many years, and for some reason it doesn't work. Like, I'm still Kanishadikari. I have more attachments and problems. And a misgiving comes from a doubt. It means that you are convinced that, yes, I was chanting for 15 years, and now I'm still not purified. So therefore, the process doesn't work. That's a misgiving.
Srila Prabhupada is very powerful because he gives freedom when finish the lesson, like you ask, have a sense for you, and you have a freedom to answer yes or no.
Of course, yeah.
It's very powerful this because it's not a faith, fanatical faith.
Of course, it's not dogma. It's just, yeah, it's not a dogma. So as you mentioned, it's not a dogma. It's important to actually understand what you're doing. Therefore, doubts are not exactly so bad. As Keshav Maharaj says, our spiritual process is not just a dogmatic following. It's something it's a scientific approach. You get a theory, by chanting your rounds, you'll become purified. And you test. You can maybe do it for a month, and if you actually see the difference, you can keep following it. If you don't see a difference, inquire why it's not happening. So about doubts, they are demonic in a sense because they lead to misgivings. If doubts are not cleared, if you have this question that I was chanting for the last 10 years and still nothing happens, it develops into a misgiving. When you have this misgiving, then that's very demonic because you actually you don't believe in it anymore. Become atheistic. So that's the fact. I thought it would be a nice example. Actually, also about doubts, it's important to understand that they'll come. It's something that you can forecast, or you can see that you can expect them. That that approximately in 10 years, I might have some doubts. And it's important to understand that doubts will come, but what's even more important is to understand how to deal with doubts. And I'll just give a nice example. It'll be quite interesting. So basically, you're walking in the thorny path, and you expect that there will be thorns. You never know. Sometimes a thorn might come into your foot. So it's important to understand that a thorn might come, and when it comes, either get some hydrogen, properly clean it up, squeeze all the pus if there's anything, that'll be fine. But if you keep walking, you get a thorn, and you just keep walking without understanding that I have to take care of this, you'll start hurting more. Then eventually, some dirt will go inside. Then infection, and later on, pus, and then it goes really bad. I remember I had a friend who got a nice deep thorn, and of course he was kids, didn't take care of anything. Then in Gurukul you have ash, dirt everywhere. So you got really dirty. So after like 2 weeks, it got so bad that when you have an infection, you get this red line coming through your veins. That means that it's a really bad infection. And if this line reaches your heart, you're kaput. You finish. So he already got this line. It was already coming halfway through. So So it's crazy. It's like a doubt, basically. When you get a doubt and you don't take care of it, it becomes a misgiving and it can kill you. Therefore, it's important to actually take care of these doubts before they go bad. And of course, taking care of doubts means finding someone you actually know and someone you trust, you can open up to and express yourself. As the fourth verse of Upadeshamrita, Tadati Prakritiknati, Guhimakati Pushati, is revealing your mind and listening confidentially. That's important. That's the way how you can clear your doubts and not get the misgivings. That's very crucial for Maya to trap you. Okay, is that clear? Any questions on this point? You can ask. Let's do section by section. Please ask question.
No, because it's a pretty big one, so I'd rather wait until the end.
Oh sure, okay. Okay, let's go for the third topic. That's about basically how you can remember Krishna at the time of death. It's not exactly an easy point to talk about, because in Krishna consciousness we say that chant your rounds, eat prasadam, dance, sing, and you'll go back to Godhead. It's very simple. But then if you look here, Arjuna, Prabhupada explains it further, that at the point of death, all the 9 holes of your body, they're blocked. You feel severe pain. You cannot focus on anything. I remember a long time ago, I broke my hand. And no way I could think about Krishna. I was just like, this hurts. So if just a broken hand makes you think about other stuff, how are you going to think about Krishna when you're dying? Shri Shri Radha Kukulanda ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Gaunitai ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, the Gopi Mandi. So think about it, how are you going to think about Krishna at that time? It's practically impossible. They say that at the time of death, your whole life flashes. You basically have a slideshow, a really quick slideshow of just the moments that you have. And the most crucial moments. So of course, there are many ways you can keep practicing spiritual life and then hope that during your death, you actually remember Krishna. But it's not easy. It's like a test. You never know what's going to happen. It's you can practice as much as you want, but you never know what question's actually going to be on the test. So it does sound a bit depressing and hard to understand how you're going to do it. But there's one there's one tip you can say that people use and that helps them in their life. And that's something that Gopal Goswami wrote in his Satir Saradipika. He wrote the Dashavidya Samskaras, the 10 samskaras for human society to function. In a nutshell, samskara, do you know what samskara is? It's a fancy word, but let's go through it and see what you think what samskara is. Please, samskara?
I think we went over them during the teacher. Basically, what I think of immediately is impressions.
Yeah. The direct translation of samskara is impression. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. Anyone else? Any more ideas?
Sometimes a rite of passage.
Yeah, in a way, it's right about passage. Yeah, of course. There's 10 samskaras. First Vivaha, Garbhadan, then you have Pumsavana, Simantanayana, Jalakarma. Yeah, there's many more. Anyways, that's not.
I have a question. The connection or difference to samskara and teaching?
Oh, it's very different, of course. They're similar, but a bit different. Basically, samskara is an impression. I think go through it a bit deeper. Samskara is basically when you remember something, when you see something, it helps you remember something else. For example, I have a friend in Gurukul. He was a teacher, and he like loved making halava. So like whenever I remember halava, I remember him. So like, it makes connections basically, and it can be positive, it can be negative. Another one would be, I remember every time I used to go to Kolkata for shopping, we used to buy mishti doi. So whenever I remember Kolkata trips, I remember mishti doi. It's like it just helps me remember things, like it just connects things. It also can be negative. I have a friend who just hates cars. Like every time he like used to go into a car, he used to puke every single time, like crazy amount of times. And like so now every time you even mention the word car, he like is about to puke. So like that's also a bad impression, a bad samskara. So the whole reason of the whole point of the Dashavida samskaras is to connect Krishna or this understanding of spirituality to the main aspects of your life. The samskaras are the wedding, like the conception, the first birth, the name giving, basically the most important times of your life. Then your graduation, the beginning of your education, then your first grains, basically all the most significant aspects of your life. That's when you do samskara. So the whole point of the samskara is to connect these parts of your life, like your birth, your marriage, your first day of education, and so on, to Krishna. In that way, when this flashes happens in your life, when you die, when you're about to die, this flashes happens, like you remember your birth, you remember your first day in school, you remember your last day in school, your wedding. So all these things remind you of Krishna, because there's a samskara. There is a connection. You do a yagya, you do chant some mantras, you also have Vaishnavas around you doing kirtan. It's a full procedure, of course, but it helps you connect in a way. Of course, it's not guaranteed, it's not 100%, but it helps much again. Please.
Is there a difference in the types of samskaras, or like because you may remember some things more?
Of course.
What is the cause of that? Why would you remember something like one old song that you used to listen to as a child, as opposed to remembering like a bhajan at the
Of course, these things, it's very hard. It basically depends on what you actually cherish the most. If you actually cherish the bhajan more than the karmi song, then you will remember it. But it's very hard to actually make sure that you do it. It's a process that you purify yourself to actually start liking bhajans more than the karmi songs. But the whole idea of samskaras is that it doesn't cover your whole life, but it covers the main aspects of your life, like the most significant periods. Again, your birth, first day of school, your graduation, your wedding, and so on. Basically, the things that kind of appear like very significant. So they help you kind of connect the main aspects of your life to Krishna. And that's why when you're dying, you can actually, there's a higher chance of you remembering him. Of course, it's not guaranteed, but there's a higher chance. Make sense?
It's not guaranteed that I have that.
Please. You have a doubt?
But yeah, like if the whole practice there's no guarantee that we're gonna actually remember Krishna, then is that really motivating for you?
Of course not. But okay, let me go a bit further. It's you can say elephant in the room. No one really wants to talk about it, but it's a reality. So okay, let me just go a bit deeper. Then okay, let me just first make you a bit more depressive, and then okay, then look. When you actually remember Krishna, even if you remember Krishna, the whole process of leaving this world is not easy. You like, even if you remember Krishna, you go on the Vimana, you sit with the Vishnudutas, and then they take you through the whole creation. They basically take you first to like your favorite club. Then they take you to like the place where you had your first wedding. Then they take you like, then they go to heaven. You check the whole heaven. Like, do you want to stay here? And then if you want to stay there, you stay there. No, so wait. Then and then in this way you go through all the higher planets. And like there's much more than just heaven and everything else. And the last test is Mahini Murti. Do you know who is Mohini Murti? It's basically Vishnu in the form of Mataji. Like, it's the most, like, a beautiful woman times 100 or times 1,000. Like, yeah, infinity. Basically, Mahadev himself fell for Mohini Murti. Like, it's crazy. Like, you have no hope. Yeah, like actually Mahadev is like Krishna, like almost Vishnu. Like they say that if Vishnu is milk, Mahadev is yogurt. Like they're so similar. But if Mahadev fell for Mohini Murti, what chance do we have? Yeah. That's it. No hope. Anyways, that's it. Okay. So there is hope. There is hope. There's a silver lining in the clouds. That's why we have a spiritual master. Spiritual master is the person who actually helps us go through all the stages. You're there on the Vimana, but he's flying next to you. And like every time you start looking there, he gives you a slap. Boom! So why are you looking there? Krishna is the only way. So now, even if you go up there, the Mohini Murti, like he just like smashes you. Like don't look there. Krishna is the only center point. Yeah, it's Krishna. It is Krishna, but it's a different form. It's not like Krishna himself. So yeah, that's why having a spiritual master is so important. Because without his mercy, we have no chance. Like really, no hope. Because only if your spiritual masters that help you, guide you in every part of your life, then like you just have no hope. That's why your relationship with your spiritual master is the most significant relationship in your whole life. Doesn't matter what, like, it's actually there's a saying that if you offend Krishna, spiritual master can save you. But if you offend your spiritual master, no one can save you. Like it's so profound, it's so deep that without your spiritual master, you really have no hope. Like, as you can see, like, first of all, remembering Krishna, it's so hard. Second of all, going through all those stages, like all those, sanctification activities, like it's just ingrained into you. Like it's not possible to, by yourself, detach from them. Only by the mercy of someone who has actually purified himself and is pure, and who actually cares about you, and he actually wants to help you. Only then you can actually get purified. That's why your spiritual master is the most important person in your life. On this note, we can ask for questions, comments, or doubts. Anyone?
Yeah, and still processing the spiritual master in terms of doubts, and also like how to remind us what is the most important thing and how not to lose faith in Krishna. But my initial doubt was many do you understand how Krishna reciprocates with us in terms of like our practice? Because like most of the times we hear that, like we may do so many endeavors, so many things, but without the mercy of Krishna, there's nothing that can really happen. Krishna kind of does whatever he wants without mercy. Like
It's true.
some devotees are like very fortunate, but it's very rare that he just like gives his mercy just like that. And it's not just one endeavor that may happen. So I kind of find it interesting that to the pure devotees
Yeah.
and associates of the Lord, then we may have a chance of attaining that mercy. It doesn't seem like there's any other way actually.
It's true. Mercy, I think, is the only way. And so it calls us mercy. Because we have, really, like, we don't deserve any mercy. Like, at least I can say for myself, like, I don't know. You can chant, of course, you can do your sadhana, but whatever mercy you get, it's not always correlated to your sadhana. Sometimes just you get your spiritual master just kind of blesses you with something, like gives you second initiation, and like of course it's easy endeavor. That's I think the main thing. Because think about it, what can you actually do? The only thing that you can actually give is your endeavor, because you don't have a certain amount of physical activity, like physical capacity. You only have a certain amount of mental capacity that you can only like do so many hours outside on the streets reading books. You can only chant for so many hours. You can only focus to a certain degree. But it's about your endeavor, about how much you actually want to please Him. And of course, it's devotion, basically. It's trying to actually please Krishna. Because it doesn't matter how many rounds you chant, how many books you distribute, unless you please your spiritual master, unless you actually try to serve Krishna with pure devotion, all of it is, it's not, of course it's potent, you get some benefit, you get, of course, Agya Sukriti, but it's not as powerful as Vaishnava Kripa. So that's the most powerful thing there is in the universe. Vaishnava Kripa is the atom bomb. Without Vaishnava Kripa, no hope. Yeah, please.
Yeah, and therefore, naturally, the next question is, because we understand that we should please Vaishnavas, serve Vaishnavas, but how do we actually go about doing that in the most, in the proper way, in the most efficient way, in the way that makes us get their mercy? Because again, it's just a matter of getting the mercy at the end of the day.
Of course.
So even with, in terms of Vaishnavas and the spiritual master, we may serve, we may try to please them. How do we really get their mercy?
It's a good point. Also, one thing is that you can only please some of the people, some of the time. There'll always be Vaishnavas who no matter what you do, just you can't please everybody. So it's another thing. So I found for myself, at least what I try to do, is to understand my spiritual master. What's his mood and what's his point of energy? What does he actually want his disciples to do? What's his mood and what's his drive, basically? What keeps him going? And of course, your following your spiritual master's instructions is the most important thing you can do, because you can never go wrong with that. Or you can also hear someone, you should chant 64 rounds. You should do books for 8 hours every day. But I think the most important thing is what your spiritual master wants you to do. Of course, it's different for everybody, but it's also not always easy to find it. But one thing that I do for myself, at least, every time I wake up in the morning, I pay basis to, of course, all the Vaishnavas, and I beg my spiritual master to show me guidance to actually do what I can do, what am I supposed to do to please him. Also, before I go to sleep, I do the same thing. But also I pray to Krishna to actually understand the heart of the spiritual master. I don't know if that's what I'm supposed to do, but I remember listening to a lecture by Keshav Maharaj, actually over here, and he was saying that when Rupa Goswami was able to, what was it actually? It was a pastime of Mahaprabhu when he was singing some Karmi song during Ratha Yatra, and no one could understand anything except for Rupa Goswami. He changed the lyrics of the song. He basically sang the same thing Mahaprabhu sang, but with different lyrics, just to kind of show everybody else how Mahaprabhu is not singing a karmic song, a love song. Rather, he's actually singing for Krishna. And then Mahaprabhu was shocked. How do you know what I was thinking about? And then Rupa Goswami said, because I have understood your heart, I can see your real intentions. So I think that's the most important thing. Just try to understand the heart of your spiritual master. Please. Yeah, that's okay. Let him. Please.
Yeah, so I just want to understand more clearly, actually the power of the spiritual master, because how can we go back to the spiritual world with even a tinge of material desire?
Yeah.
Or material affection? So actually, how far can the spiritual master bring us in that regard?
Yeah, spiritual master he's basically Krishna personified. Means he's the divine media of Krishna. And Krishna has all the potencies. So if Krishna wants to purify you, he can purify you just one glance. As Shuddhakara. Basically, when you look at a deity, there's a special thing that kind of comes, laser comes out from the Lord that purifies you. It's called Shuddhakara. So there's two things. There's there's sadhana siddha and there's Kripa Siddha. And it's basically, of course you can hope for Kripa Siddha, but as long as you don't get it, you just practice sadhana. So yes, it's some aspect that it's quite maybe controversial ISKCON, like it's not very understood to everybody. But yeah, just at least I can say for myself, just practice sadhana and don't just go through routine every day. Try to actually, at least every morning and every evening, pray to Krishna, pray to your spiritual master to show you guidance. That's how you pay basis every time before you go to sleep and every time when you wake up. Because without the guidance, again, you of course you understand it's not possible. Yeah, just kind of, I think, praying and praying. That's what I see. Please. You have questions?
Yes. How is the way you can approach a spiritual master when maybe is deaf, you know? Maybe is the sound what that you have
Mhm.
just sound click like.
Of course.
But then how can you approach to him like I don't know I want to say you have some instruction for me but I don't know if it's the right way for go more slowly, you know?
Of course, yeah.
Because you have some instruction but maybe it's too fast. It's
Yeah,
fast.
naturally, of course. Yeah, that's something.
So how is more slowly way to?
Means of course there's the the first you should go through the Guru Disciple course. It actually explains you more about the Guru Tattva. But yeah, it explains about Guru Tattva. Actually, kind of you can see deeper how things actually manifest. But just to do it quickly, we have a few minutes. So your spiritual master is, of course, different sannyasins have different structures, different systems. Like I know for Jayapataka Maharaj, he has like 50,000 disciples. You have no hope. Just like actually come to him like, can you please give me instruction? You have to go through like the whole procedure. Is like finish your Bhakti Shastri, finish all your paperwork. Then you actually sign it. You get your first pranam mantra. Then you go for initiation, everything else. Yeah, basically, kind of it's a bit complicated. It depends for like who you're aspiring for. But just if you found someone you think about, take pranam mantra. Like ask them for the pranam mantra. If you can chant their pranam mantra for like a year, and then generally when you chant the pranam mantra, because the mantra and the person are non different, so by chanting it, it should help you understand his personality. Of course, it's not like it won't click exactly, but it helps you in a certain degree. And of course, pranam mantra is not like an initiation. You can always change someone. Like if you took pranam mantra from, for example, Indra Swami, and you understand his mood is not exactly the same. Yeah, means before initiation. If you took pranam mantra, you still have like this wiggle room to change someone to someone else. Just kind of, that's the time you kind of trying to understand who he is. Like you said, for myself, I understand he is nice. Let me just try to go a bit deeper and see if he is the person. If you understand he's not the person, you can go with someone else. But Prabhupada is like you can say, the main guru for us, because like, he established the whole ISKCON. He's the, how you say, Pratishtita Acharya. And if you pray to him, he'll help you reveal. Because the whole idea of a spiritual master is that you see Prabhupada through him, and you see Krishna through your spiritual master. So basically a person who can help you see Prabhupada, see Krishna through, like the best person who can actually helps you click things. Like if you just listen to a lecture, like oh, it makes sense. But like someone you listen to and it just, this point actually clicks, like it makes sense. That's generally the person. Sorry, I think we are over time. My pleasure. Any more questions? Yeah? Grantarashina Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, the Gorpimanande. Sorry.
Jai.
That's fine. श्री श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की, श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय, श्री गौरानिताई की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। की बजय जय गौरचंद्र आरती का शोभा। की बजय जय गौरचंद्र आरती का शोभा। जानवी ताता बाने जग मन लोभा। जानवी ताता बाने जग मन लोभा। दक्षिणे नेताय चार वामे गददारा। दक्षिणे नेताय चार वामे गददारा। निकाते अद्वैताश्विनी वत्सा चत्रधारा। निकाते अद्वैताश्विनी वत्सा चत्रधारा। वशी अशे गौराचार रत्नसिंह